The Queen is believed to have given Kate Middleton secret lessons on how to act as a royal before she married Prince William, like how to preserve her modesty, according to a royal journalist. Marrying into the royal family must be incredibly daunting with all the expectations, responsibility and endless rules to abide by. The then Kate Middleton had a lot to learn in the run-up to her 2011 wedding to Prince William, as she didn't come from a royal or high society background. But luckily the Queen was there to teach her everything she knows, reports MyLondon. According to the 2017 Amazon Prime documentary, Kate Middleton, Working Class to Windsor, Kate took private lessons on how to be a royal wife before the big day, and who better to learn how to be a royal from than the head of the family herself. The meetings between the two reportedly happened ahead of Kate's wedding. During this time, the Queen also helped Kate decide what her official royal title could be, eventually settling on Catherine, Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Cambridge. From the beginning, Kate Middleton had a great deal of support from the royal family, which was really instructed by the Queen, journalist Ashley Pearson explained in the documentary. This was to make sure she knew as much as she could possibly know and what to do in every situation, bearing in mind, of course, that she didn't grow up in this world. Kate's mother-in-law Camilla, Duchess of Cornwall, also has some words of wisdom on how to hang on to a prince. But according to royal author Robert Lacey, she struggled to follow it. Camilla's essential tip for Kate was to make sure her life molded to the way William leads his, in order to make the union last. In his royal biography, Battle of Brothers, Robert said, Camilla had confided to Kate the secret of hanging on to a busy prince, fit your timetable, well, basically your whole life, around his. However, despite Camilla's advice, Lacey claims that this wasn't really possible for Kate, as William's diary was unfit roundable. Piers Morgan appeared on Australian television to promote his new talk TV show and branded Meghan Markle the Queen of Woke before stating those who are part of cancel culture are sucking the joy out of life. Piers Morgan appeared on the Australian breakfast show today and unleashed on Meghan Markle for preaching about environmental issues despite living in a mansion and flying in private jets. Mr. Morgan also reflected on an interaction he had with an Australian lady in London who said wokies were sucking all the joy out of life. Mr. Morgan agreed, calling it a brilliant observation, and said it was his mission to bring freedoms back to the world. Mr. Morgan spoke with Today presenters Carl Stefanovic and Alison Langdon about his new show and the royal family. Mr. Stefanovic joked he was surprised to see Mr. Morgan come round on Meghan Markle. The former GMB presenter laughed and remarked, well, she's the Queen of Woke. I think in many ways she represents this kind of mindset where she wants to right to everything that she does is fantastic. And everything anybody else does to criticize, it is appalling and they must be immediately cancelled and shamed and vilified, and that's not how democracies work, I'm afraid. The number of times they preach to us about the environment, those two clowns in their California mansion from Elton John's private jet. It's like really, you're gonna preach to me about carbon footprint from Elton John's private jet? No, you're not. And so my show, as you can see, my show is gonna take on this. Cancel culture has become something which I think destroys a society. Mr. Morgan then recalled an interaction he had with an 80-year-old Australian lady in London who came up to him and said she was behind him on the Markle debacle. He explained the woman was angry at people who are woke and that they want to suck the joy out of life and wanted Mr. Morgan to change that. Later in the interview, Mr. Morgan reflected on the wider royal family and the health of the Queen and hoped she would pull through. He agreed the monarch had gone through a lot, such as the Prince Andrew case and the loss of Prince Philip, and joked a weekly meeting with Boris Johnson would finish anyone off. But Mr. Morgan was concerned over the popularity of Prince Charles and Camilla, the Duchess of Cornwall, taking over despite personally liking them all, taking over